Today I'm going to show you how to dehydrate strawberries. The first thing we're going to do is wash all of our strawberries. The next thing that we want to do is we want to take out the stems and slice them. You can either do all of the steps at once or you can do them individually. For cutting off of the stems, you can either take a knife and go in at an angle to peel it off, and then you can cut these into your slices. Or if I'm doing a whole bunch of these at one time, I break it down into two steps. I will use a strawberry core to get all of the stems out, and then I will cut them all. To use a strawberry core, it looks a little tool like this. You push in the plunger so that the claws come out. You stick them into the strawberry and you basically just jam it down in there until this is flush with the strawberry. The trick to this is you need to twist it as you pull it out at the same time, and it will get rid of your stem as well as the core. You push the plunger and the stem will just fall out. And then you grab your next strawberry, you're going to do the same thing. Just push, twist, turn, and you do that with all of your strawberries. When cutting your strawberries, you can use a knife and just put them into slices, or because I tend to do large batches, I prefer to use a mandolin, which will help me get nice even slices, so that way when I go to put them on the dehydrator, they're nice and even. Once you have cut your strawberries into slices, as I do each strawberry, I just lay it out onto the tray in nice thin slices, and I try to do even rows. That way I can fit more strawberries onto my tray and use up as much space as possible. So keep going with all of your strawberries. Once you have your tray full of strawberries, we're going to put it into the dehydrator and move on to the next one. Once all of your strawberries are filled on the trays, you're going to take your tray and just slide it into the groove. And these will just all slide in. We're then going to take the door and just lay it in the truck. And then we're going to turn on our dehydrator. Strawberries need to be dehydrated for about 130 degrees, so I have my temperature set. And for strawberries, you're going to dehydrate anywhere between 8 to 16 hours. So on my Excalibur dehydrator, I have a timer, so I can set it for 8 hours. Personally, I like to do about 10, but there is quite a range. So you want to check it after the 8 to 10 hours, check your strawberries, see if they're done. If they're not, just go ahead and put them in for a few more hours and keep checking until they're no longer moist, but they are nice and dry. Once you have finished dehydrating, go ahead and take your cover off, and you'll notice that our strawberries have come out really nice and dry. When you're working with them, you may need to peel them back a little bit. They should feel like paper. If you feel any moisture or stickiness, they haven't finished dehydrating. You want to put them in a little bit longer. Because we've just turned off the dehydrator, these are still hot, so we want to let it cool down for about a half hour before we put them into our containers so that we don't get any spoilage in our containers. Once you have let them cool for about a half hour, we're going to start peeling off our strawberries and putting them into our container. I like using glass jars because I find that they preserve the food really nicely. So just go ahead and peel them all off and stick them into your jar. Once we have all of our strawberries in our jar container, another thing I also like to do is use food grade oxygen absorbers and just put one in the jar, and then you can seal it up. The oxygen absorbers will help get rid of all the excess air, which will help prolong the shelf life on your food. Other thing you also want to make sure you do is label it, so that way you know what you have in the jar and when you made it, so that way you can rotate your food.